Well, welcome back, everyone. And for those tuning in, this is our student led podcast here at FIU, hosted by the American Marketing Association. It's a space from students for students and for anyone curious in their future for marketing. So, Victor, first of all, we loved hearing from your journey and all the work you've done is truly inspiring. And I think a question we all have is how do we get tickets for all those really cool events that you talked about?
Well, you need to be an advertiser. You need to buy media with Spotify, and then we're probably going to invite you to some of those
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll get started on that.
in a few years, maybe.
Yeah. Since FIU is such an international university, let's bring it in. So culture, I see that brings a it plays a really important role. So I'd love to know a little bit about where everyone is from. If you guys want to raise your hands and tell us where they come from, where they're from. Nobody. Okay. Yes.
Colombia.
What's your name?
Pablo.
Pablo, Colombia. Cool. Someone else.
I'm Maria. I'm from Ecuador.
I'm from Ecuador too. Wait, from what city?
Guayaquil.
Yo de Quito. Oh my god. Oh.
Venezuela,
Venezuela. What city?
Maracaibo.
More. Yes.
I'm Isabel. I'm from Brazil.
Brazil. And one more.
Yeah, I'm Timothy. I'm from Ukraine.
Wow, this is so cool. So, here we can see how important it is. So, Victor, what early experiences shaped the way you use culture in marketing?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think. All right. So, a few thoughts. When you're putting together a marketing team, I think it's crucial for you to have representation of people from different parts of the world. And luckily, I work in a global team. So until last year, I was leading Latin America. Now I'm part of this, I do global integration. So I work really close with the Latin America team, the EMEA team, the JPAC team. And each market has their different nuances. So there are things that are created for US specifically. They're just not going to work in Brazil. They're not going to work in Spain. They're not going to work in Japan. So one thing that I do is reaching out to those teams locally, and together we try to build something that's actually going to have, it's going to make sense for those markets. So it's important for you to, again, put together a team that has people from different cultures. If you were, and I show an example here of that event we did in Mexico, and we were working with a production team that didn't have anyone from Mexico in that team. So it was important for them to listen from us what is relevant for us to add to that event, like what kind of colors we should be using, what kind of materials we should be using, because we were creating an experience that was focused in Dia de Muertos, which is one of, if not the most important holiday in Mexico. So we had to be really careful how we're gonna play in that environment. So having someone from Mexico in our team was crucial to make sure that the message and the whole event would land. And when it comes to Spotify itself, I think Spotify as a platform, when we say Spotify is where culture happens. So you have Spotify in almost 200 markets across the globe. Each market has, a different Spotify because the way people listen to their market is going to be very different. In Brazil, for example, if you go to the top 50 songs in Brazil, 49 of them are going to be Brazilian songs from local artists. If you go to a different market, it's probably going to be more international artists, more American artists. So a platform like Spotify offers that understanding of what people are streaming out there. And whenever we see a cultural moment happening in a specific market, it's funny how we can, through our data, the data that we have on Spotify, we can see how that is affecting the behavior of how people listen on Spotify. So let's say we have a new season of White Lotus premiering, and we have a specific song that played in the first episode. We're able to see how that's reflected on Spotify. There's a very interesting case from a few months ago. I don't know if I have any gamers here, but a lot of gamers are expecting Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out. It became a meme, because it's been, I don't know how many years since the fifth one came out. And then earlier this year, we finally had the trailer for the new game, and the trailer had a specific song from this artist, I believe from the 80s, if not mistaken. And then we saw as soon as the trailer launched, the increase of streams on that specific song. It was like 260,000% from just because of that trailer. So like when you open those charts, those graphics, and you see those changes, you're like, okay, what happened here in this specific day? There's one example that I really like is whenever we have an eclipse, the song "Total Eclipse of the Heart" has like a huge peak. So if you open the chart for that specific song, like a graphic on how people are streaming, of the streaming numbers throughout the past years, every time you see a peak, it's because there was an eclipse.
Wow, that is really funny. I feel like something that I'm curious about is how do you make sure that these campaigns you're going into culture can be kind of like a sensitive topic as well? How do you make sure that it feels natural and not just an app? You know?
Yeah, I think there are different things here. When we're talking about a campaign from the B2C marketing team, again, the team responsible for coming up with these campaigns for the consumers, they have marketing teams across the world. So they might come up with a concept, that works in US, but then the local teams are going to grab that concept and be like, okay, how can we make this relevant for these markets? Recently, just I think this month or last month, we launched a campaign focused on fans, and we have these global artists that are part of the campaign, but then each market was responsible for coming up with the local artists that they wanted to be part of that local campaign. So in Brazil, we have a specific artist. In Spain, we have others. In Germany, we have others. So again, like it's important for us to have those teams based locally with local people, so they can understand what's going to make sense or not for each market. When we have advertisers using our platform to tap into culture, we have teams within our organization. We're able to consult with them and to make sure their message is going to land as they want to on Spotify. So it's important to take that into consideration when creating a campaign within Spotify, or when the marketing team is creating that campaign for consumers or even for advertisers. Like again, going back to that example from Mexico, like that's what we did. Like we were really careful with the cultural aspect and how the message was going to land for that specific audience.
I think that's something that I really admire about Spotify as a brand. I think the way they show up is very intentional and it feels personalized. I feel like all of us, well, who here uses Spotify? Amazing. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Because I feel like whenever I use the app, and I'm guessing you all can relate, I feel like it's made for me. Like
It
that
is, yeah.
moment, everything that you have is exactly for you and tailored for you. So I love that you said that. We're gonna go ahead and go into questions from the crowd that you all posted in our stories. So I'm gonna pull those up right now. So the first one that we have is, how long does it take to plan an event like the ones you showed, from Isabela?
All right, I'm gonna go to the most complex one that we have, which is 10 Lions that I showed you. That event takes place in June. Again, it's our tentpole event. We usually, after the event ends, we have a session with like the cross-functional team, which we call hits, misses, and takeaways. And we should talk about what worked, what didn't work, and what we should be considering for next year. Starting that moment, we were ready to start planning what's going to happen next year, because we gather all that feedback and we start building. We take that into consideration when we start having those conversations about the next year. But we get together as a team and fully start working on it. I would say maybe like 4 or 5 months before. And we have different levels. Like we have a core team that's responsible for like coming up with a strategy, what's going to be the theme, like the key messaging. Then we have an expanded cross-functional team that actually like goes there, and each person gets a specific task to work on. So that type of event, it can take like, we usually start working around like maybe like February, March, for the event that happens in June. For smaller events, it can be like 3 months, 2 months. But usually all those events are already planned in our annual planning. So we're going to start our 2026 planning now in October. Usually October, November, we already have an understanding of what the next year is going to look like, and we already have those events planned, so we know when they're going to happen. But we work on the brief and getting the team together. Again, it can be like 3 to 6 months before they take place.
What has been like your favorite event? Like what was your favorite?
I think Ken Lyons, like, you know, the best thing that we do. I had the opportunity to join 3 times. The last one was this year, and just seeing that happen, and knowing that, and you guys saw the video, like before we get there, there's a beach, there's nothing, it's like sand, and the team just like builds something extraordinary, like out of nothing. So it's amazing to see that taking shape, and it's amazing to see those artists performing. Like this year we had Cardi B, and she came up with like a concert that was like very custom to our audience and to the space where we were. So I think that for sure is like one of the best experiences that you can have working in visual marketing at Spotify. But I also love the events that I came up with, that I was responsible for, like the one that I showed you, the party that we did in Brazil. That's something that I came up with. Like I wrote the brief, like I made it happen along with the production team. So that's something that I'm very proud of. And yeah, I mean, I could list a bunch, but I think those would be my favorite. Yeah.
Top 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go into the next
I think
question.
one thing important that when we do these events, and that happens in both of them, one way to assess the success of the event is how many people were left out and were not able to get in. So when we're doing this type of events, it's really hard to know because we don't sell tickets. So like we don't know how many people are actually going to show up. So you have to invite more people that you actually have a space for. Sometimes 50% of those people who RSVP are actually going to show up. So what happens sometimes is that more people actually decide to show up than you had planned for. So you might have 100 people left outside, which you can see as a problem, but for us, it's like it's a good sign. Like it shows that we created that FOMO, like that people like. And for that event in Brazil, we had people. We're you can only get in if people leave, and we had a group of 30 people who waited until like the last hour of the event. They were at the door, and then eventually we let them in. But it shows how special that experience is and how they actually want to be there.
Okay, well, I was gonna ask you like, what do you do in that case? Because I'm like, here we have like this room. There's so many people. I feel like that could be something positive. But what do you do when maybe you don't have enough space to have everyone inside?
They don't get in.
You heard, guys, everybody has to come in early because.
Yeah, we do. It depends. Like we have a process and a strategy. So if we're expecting VIP clients are from brands that actually do a lot of business with us, like the big do big investments. We coordinated with the sales team and like, hey, until like 9 p.m. I'm gonna save like 50 spots for those clients, but make sure they arrive by 9 p.m. so I can let them in. After 9 p.m. I'm just gonna let everyone else in. So we do that, like we have those conversations, so we make sure that whoever needs to be in the room, they're gonna be there. And people who are left out, usually they're not like our top priority clients, but some of them are gonna be mad at us, but some of them are gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna do more business with you because I want to be there in the next one. So that can help.
Okay. Next question. How do you think your creative strategy evolved since starting to work at Spotify?
My creative strategy. I think when I first started, I was leading Latin America. That role didn't exist before, so I just got in, and this was over 9 years ago. There was no one doing that work before. So I had to just get in, and at the time, I would just adapt anything that people in US or Europe were doing. It took me a year or so to understand that how I could bring my ideas to life locally, and I realized that people were not paying much attention to Latin America, like because we were not a focused region for them. They would focus more in US, North America, US and US and Canada. I like to be specific because we call North America, but we don't include Mexico in North America, Latin America. So US and Canada, and some of the top Europe markets, right? Those have always been the priority. And then one day I was like, people are not paying attention to what I'm doing in Latin America. People are not, they don't care about how I'm spending this money. So I decided to start testing things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work, but that made the global team see Latin America as a creative hub. So my team that eventually got in LATAM, like we were known for creating this really different and creative activations that eventually would be exported to other markets. So there are two initiatives that I created with my team a couple years ago that the next year they became global. And whenever the team comes up with a new plan, I think the bar for us is a little bit higher because they expect that creativity every time we present something. So, but I think that came from that. And I think especially from the Brazilian people here in the room might relate to this. We can be very scrappy. It's like, oh, we don't have budget. All right, I'll make it happen either way. They're like, but in the US, it's like, oh no, you cannot. You don't have the budget. Like you need to get approvals from like 10,000 people. And in Brazil, we're like, I don't have the budget. I'm going to talk to you. You're okay with it? Let's do it. We don't have to create a brief. We don't have to like go to different, so I think that allows us to move faster and be more creative and take risks. And again, some of these ideas might work, some of them might not work. But when they do work, we're very proud that we were able to come up with that thing in Latin America.
Wow, congrats on that. I think that's really cool. I feel like a lot of people here in FIU have seen very scrappy or very like looking for new opportunities, where to grow. So props to everyone for that. Next question. What's the most challenging part of running advertising campaigns on a global scale?
Making sure they're going to work in other markets. It's really challenging. Also timing. We just launched a campaign this week, and we had some issues with the timing, so we couldn't launch in the way we wanted in every single market because the document that we needed for that campaign, we received on Monday, and we were launching on Tuesday. So like, okay, we need time to localize all that and make sure they're going to be. So we need a couple more weeks to get them ready. And so we're really creating something on a global scale. We need to pay attention to timing and understand how much time we're going to need to make that content relevant for each single market.
Wow, I'm like learning so much right now. So, next question. Ooh, okay, this one is fun. What's your number one artist and song in your Spotify rap?
My artist, that's easy. It's Young the Giant. That's like my favorite band. Everyone knows them. They're like this indie rock band. I'm actually traveling to Denver next month to see them at Red Rocks. I'm very excited for that. Song, I'm trying to remember which song was on my top last year. Probably was one from them. Or because I have a 5-year-old and he has very specific taste. So there's some music that I have to play for him, and 5-year-olds, they like to listen to the same song over and over and over again. So I know some of his songs showed up in my rap. I forgot if it was one or not, but I'm trying to educate him on what he should be listening to. And recently he's been really into the Spice Girls and Lady Gaga. So I'm very proud.
Wow, we have the same taste. Okay, Kelly says it's a pleasure to meet you. And she wants to know, what's your favorite partnership and why?
Favorite partnership from like things that we've done on Spotify? I think if we're talking about the product itself, I really like the partnership that we have with Instagram because it's one of the key things on Spotify is how you share what you're listening to. And recently we launched new tools that allow you to easily share with on your notes on Instagram. And now when you post on a story, people can click on it and it takes you to the song, which is something that didn't happen before. So in terms of product, I really like that that partnership. when it comes to the advertising side, um, God, there's so many great campaigns that we've done. Uh, I think Coke is a great partner that we have. The one of the things that I like the most about the the marketing strategy for Coca-Cola is how they incorporate music. And I have a whole presentation that I do on how brands use music on their brand storytelling. And a big part of the presentation talk about Coke, which is a great case if you guys are familiar with. Like, do your research because they've been using music in their marketing for over 100 years. Uh, and it's incorporated into their DNA, right? Like their brand DNA. So whenever you see Coke presenting the official song of the Olympic Games, it sounds natural because it's like, oh yeah, it's Coke, but you're like, oh wait, like that's a soda brand. Like why are they doing this? Because it's just natural because they've been doing that for so many years. And of course, they're great partners with Spotify. We have a studio with them because they have this. Their music platform is called Coke Studio, and we have a physical studio with them. And we've created a bunch of different activation campaigns with them where they explore the potential of Spotify as a music platform for their marketing. So I think it's a great partner that we have. I think it makes total sense for those two brands to be together.
I agree. Last question. If you could move to another department in Spotify, which would it be?
Um, Maybe it would be the music team. Whenever I do these events, I usually have to, we depend on the music team to like bring the talent and make that happen. And I really like that partnership. I really like working with them. And there was one day that the head of the music team in Brazil, she told me there's no one else in the team in Brazil that I would trust my artists with, except you, like because you really take care of them, like you guys, the level of production that you deliver, how you attend to their needs. So I really like that. I really like making sure that those artists like they feel welcome, like they feel that they are valued. So I think the music team is one that I would be very interested in enjoying the matchup with.
That'd be really cool. Let us know
Yeah.
if we do that switch.
Yeah.
To finish off, I know you're a mentor. I saw that you do a couple of mentorships. I think that is really cool because you're giving back a lot. And a question for you is like, how do we, or like just advice in general for us as students? I know we have from freshman to senior year students here. Just what would you give us as an advice as a mentor that you are to make sure that we're always, making sure we're getting we're learning, we're growing.
I'll say reach out to people. When I was in college many years ago, like I don't think LinkedIn even existed or what kind of version was out there, but it wasn't easy for us to reach out to people in this industry and just talk to them. And the amount of messages that I get on LinkedIn from students like you guys, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to reach out to me, and please do. It's just insane. There are weeks that I have to like block my calendar so I can talk to, because whenever someone reaches out to me like, hey, can we have like a coffee chat? Can we talk for 30 minutes? I cannot say no. So I'm like, yes, sure, let's do it. I just need to find the best time for me to do it. And I know a lot of people that just don't answer. And sometimes I might not answer because I'm super busy and I feel extremely bad when I go back to a message from 2 months ago and there's someone that I never replied to. But that happens. But I think LinkedIn's a great tool. You just and one of my mentees, he wanted to change. He wanted to move to a different company, and he was like, "Oh, I need to talk. I would like to have you reach out from these companies, like so you can understand, the culture, like make sure it's a good fit for you." He's like, "No, but like I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Why not?" He's like, I don't know if because he was shy or what. I'm like, just reach out to them, just send them a message. But it's important, like, how are you gonna do that, right? Like, what I say is like usually like add the person first, start following them, see the work that they're doing, and then you can write a message and be like, hey, like I see what you were doing at Spotify. Like, I love that campaign that you guys did. I'd love to hear more about it. Do you mind if we schedule a conversation so you can explain to me and I can present myself? When I see those types of messages, I'm like, yes, of course, let's talk. But if you reach out to someone else, just say, hey, like, I saw you have a role open your team. Like, can you please refer me? Like, I don't know you. Like, how can I refer you to any role? So if you are interested in hearing from someone, if you're interested in learning more about a specific industry or a specific company, just go to LinkedIn, find those people, start following them, see the work they're doing, just reach out to them. You might send 20 messages. I guarantee at least one person is gonna reply to you. You're gonna have a great conversation, and it might change your future. It really might be someone who is gonna be there for you, and if there is a role, they're gonna refer you, and that can happen. So I think that would be my advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like sometimes we're like scared of reaching out, or maybe they won't respond. But what's the worst that can happen?
If they don't respond, they don't respond.
They
Like,
don't
that's it.
respond.
Like,
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. Thank you so much for being here with us. Being part of our podcast. This is our second episode ever, so this is really special to have you here. And yeah, thank you all for being part of this podcast. Victor, I think that we will for sure have you back soon. And
thank you so much. Thanks for having me.